Well, I guess we'll get started. So welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for braving the cold and the crappy parking downtown. No negativity here, all positive, all positive. So my name is Jazz. I'm with Giving Up the Ghost podcast. We are Winnipeg's first and only paranormal podcast. I've been doing it 7 years. We are downloaded in 43 countries. What else am I missing here? 228 episodes so far. And we were also voted on Feedspot.com's Best Canadian Paranormal Podcast back in July. So, take it where you can get it. Thank you. I wasn't doing it for the pity applause or anything like that, but it's a fact. It's a fact. Me and my pod partner, we're just very curious. We love ghost stories. We love the paranormal. We love all the creepy stuff, right? Or creepy shit. And we drink and swear a lot on our podcast. But I mean, that's just par for course, right? You get two middle-aged women together, a little cocktails, a little food, So in our travels, we were lucky enough to meet Ashley and Kelly from the Winnipeg Paranormal Group.
Hi everybody, I am Ashley, as Jazz said, from Winnipeg Paranormal Group. First of all, again, like Jazz said, thank you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. Winnipeg Paranormal has been around since 2008. We are the primary paranormal group in Winnipeg. Can't say that we're, top rated or anything fancy like you.
And when I say first and only paranormal, there's a few others that have tried, but they haven't stuck around for 7 years. So, take it where I can get it. Anyway.
So we are a group of believers and non-believers. We go around and we will help people in their homes who are having paranormal activity. We also do things like working on the podcast with Jazz, Spirits with Spirits, and we also host public investigations. So if you guys are ever interested in learning about our tools, equipments, or coming out on a haunted location with us, we do host those normally from about May until October.
Highly recommend if you can get in on one of those. Those are pretty awesome.
Yeah, so tonight we are talking about sleep paralysis and shadow people. So they can go together, but they don't have to.
Did we freak somebody out already? I am so sorry. I have so many friends, not that I'm popular or anything, but I have so many friends that will not listen to the podcast because ghosts and the paranormal scare the shit out of them. So it's unfortunate. So we're not doing this. We're not doing this to freak people out. We more do this as kind of like just to share information, right? And that's why we have the open mic coming up after, because we want people to be in a safe environment where they feel that they can share these stories, because sometimes a lot of people growing up see and hear and feel things, and their family are like, you never saw that, or there's no such thing, and then they get dissed, and and that's not right. So we like to say that we provide a like-mindedness in this atmosphere for people to feel safe and tell their story, cathartically letting it off their chest and whatever else. So again, we're not trying to scare you.
But if it happens.
Just
a quick question, just because it's a small group tonight. How many of you have not been to a Spirits with Spirits?
Everybody. Except George.
A couple people. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming out and braving it.
Thank you. Yeah. And how many people believe in ghosts? Excellent. How many seen a ghost or had an experience? Excellent. Love you already. My besties. Yeah, so we'll get to that. And we've had our own experiences as well. Ashley and Kelly, of course, with being in the investigation field. Myself and my pod partner Cher. Oh, welcome. Come on in. We're just rolling into it. You missed the boring part where we just go on and on about ourselves. But we call ourselves optimistic skeptics, because even though, say, you've had your own experience, I've had my own, they're different experiences, and we can relate, but you always got to keep an open mind, I guess you would say, right? So, and for those that just came, come on in, sit on down, find a seat. I'm Jazz, and this is Ashley, just so you guys, we won't go through the whole thing, though. Anyway.
And just a reminder that when we do get to the open mic portion tonight, it does not have to be ghost stories. Mm-hmm. We love paranormal stories of all kinds. So if you have a cryptid story, an alien story, whatever, and you want to talk about it, this is a safe place tonight, and we encourage all types of paranormal stories.
And in relation to that, sometimes we have guests, like a featured speaker, and a couple times now we've had Chris Reid. He works with, actually, he kind of one of the founders of Winnipeg Paranormal Group, and his stories are amazing. So, watch our feeds, watch our socials. We're hoping to have him out again. I think he had like a really good time last time. So, I mean, he'll be back. So, I mean, definitely keep your eye out for, come to all of them, of course. Don't get me wrong, but definitely, yeah, we want to hear everything. UFOs, aliens, Sasquatch, you name it.
And for those of you who just walked in, just a reminder that we do have a board up here if you want to sign up to tell your stories. And we also have a draw at the front.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, ladies, that the 6 of you, your odds are not looking good for the prizes as more people come in. But don't worry, we got you covered. And George too, sorry, not to ignore George. Yeah, so we're going to tell you some stories that Giving Up the Ghost podcast collected on sleep paralysis. And has anybody, did I ask if they had sleep paralysis? Anybody experience it? That's yours. That's your copy.
That's mine. Yeah, has anybody experienced sleep paralysis before?
Yeah.
It's kind of a freaky thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about shadow people? Has anybody seen shadow people? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with you, not at you. Trust me. I've had both. So I think you've had too, right?
I have not experienced sleep paralysis, thankfully, but I have had shadow people.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi there. Welcome. Come on in. Sit on down. Have a seat. Oh. In the little bucket there. If you throw it in the prize bag, that doesn't mean you get the prize. So, no, sorry. Not going to fall for that again. Anyway.
All right. So Jazz was kind enough to put out some feelers to collect some sleep paralysis and shadow people stories from the internet, from our local groups in Winnipeg and surrounding areas.
They're a little intense. Sorry.
So what we're going to do is kind of read some of them. Jazz and I can tell some of our experiences. We'll take a little break and then come back to you guys. All right.
Because it's all about you. It's not about us. It's all about you. 100%.
All right. So the first story we have is from a gentleman named Ethan. He called it The Shadow with Red Eyes. He said he was 23 the first time it happened. He woke up on his back staring at the ceiling and knew immediately something was wrong. He couldn't move, not his arms, legs, or even his fingers. And that's when he saw it. At the foot of his bed, darker than the dark around it, was a shape. Not solid, more like a tear in the room, and inside that shape were 2 faint red points, like embers, watching him. It didn't move closer, it didn't have to. He could feel it studying him and waiting. He tried to scream, but his mouth wouldn't open. He tried to sit up, but his body wouldn't listen. The longer he stared at it, the heavier the air became, like the room itself was pressing down on his chest. When he finally gasped awake, it was gone. But he slept with the lights on for months after that.
I would. Every light in the house, I would think. I'll do the next one.
Sure.
The next one was given to us by somebody named Marisol, referring to this as the Whispering Woman. So I'll just see if I can get a good light here.
Here, we can.
Oh no,
pass
that's
back
good.
And forth.
Oh sure.
Just a flip.
I'm old. I need this. So Marisol says, I've had sleep paralysis before, but this one was different. I woke up facing the wall, unable to move. I couldn't open my eyes fully, but I could hear everything. That's when I felt a breath against the back of my neck. It was soft, it was warm. And then whispering. It sounded like a woman speaking quickly, like urgently, but like she was trying to warn me about something, and I couldn't understand the words, but I could hear the tone. It was like a desperate tone in her voice. I tried to roll over. I tried to say, "Who are you?" but my body was stone solid. The whispering got closer to my ear until it was almost inside my head, and then suddenly silence. When I finally jolted awake and turned over, there was nobody there, but I slept with my back to the wall after that. No doubt.
Sounds right. And for those of you who don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's when science says it's when your brain wakes up, but it hasn't actually registered that to your body. So your muscles are still tense. You can look around, but you can't actually move. And the reason that we can't move when we sleep is to try and stop things like sleepwalking. So it is a natural body function. But nobody has really been able to explain the things that are seen or experienced during that sleep paralysis.
Or may I add, hit their partner in the middle of the night. Anyway.
So the next one we have is Daniel. And he called this the weight on his chest. So his felt physical. He woke up and couldn't breathe properly. It wasn't like choking. It was like someone was sitting directly on his chest, pinning him down. He could see the room clearly, the door, the dresser, the red glow of his alarm clock, everything normal, except he couldn't move. The pressure got heavier, like hands were pressing into my ribs. He tried to shout for his roommate, but nothing came out. His jaw wouldn't open. And then I heard breathing. Not his, slow, calm, right above him. When it finally lifted, I shot upright in bed, drenched in sweat, checked the room, locked door, empty. But his chest ached like he'd been bruised.
That's not good. This next one we have is from somebody named Lena, wanting to share her story about the hooded figure. She says, I don't scare easily, but this just terrified me. I woke up and I saw someone standing in the corner of my room, tall, cloaked. The hood was up so that I couldn't see a face. I tried to sit up, nothing. My body wouldn't respond. I blinked and it was closer. Not walking, not gliding, just closer. Like the distance between us was shrinking without any movement. Every blink brought it nearer. I could feel panic flooding my chest, but I couldn't even turn my head away. It stopped right beside my bed, and I could feel it looming over me. Then sunlight broke through the blinds, and it was gone. I still sleep with a nightlight, as I would.
All right, so this one is Marcus, the hands on my shoulders. I used to think sleep paralysis was just in people's heads. Then I felt hands. I woke up on my stomach and immediately knew I couldn't move. And then something grabbed my shoulders, firm and solid. It pushed me down into the mattress. I could feel the fabric of my sheets under my face, the smell of the detergent, heard my own muffled breathing, and then hands pressing harder. I tried to fight it. Nothing worked. When I finally snapped out of it, I rolled over so fast I nearly fell off the bed. But there was no one there. But I swear I felt fingerprints on my skin.
That's a hard pass for me. This one here is from Annika. She says, mine started with music, a soft lullaby, like one of those wind-up music boxes. It was like slow and slightly off key. I woke up and I couldn't move. My room was dark, but I could hear that music was coming from somewhere near the door. It kept repeating the same warped melody over and over. The longer it played, the more anxious I felt, like it wasn't meant to soothe me, it was meant to keep me still. I tried to cover my ears, but my arms wouldn't lift. And when I finally woke fully, the room was silent. But for weeks after, I'd wake up expecting to hear it again. I hate that.
I think music just makes it creepier.
I think so, yeah. Oh, totally.
Right? Like it's one thing, and don't get me wrong, it's creepy to be woken up and feel things, see things, but to hear the music too, it's like, I'll take the breath, thank you.
On an off note, like we collect stories everywhere. Like we're going to start writing a book just to keep track of everything, like a lot of stories. And somebody, when I was recording at Prairie Sky Books for it was one of their anniversary get-togethers and stuff, and that place is very, very haunted. Really cool place. Digby the Ghost, which was the pharmacist that was murdered on site there in 1928. Anyway, one lady comes up and starts telling us about how she had a house in Wolseley that she had a piano, and yeah, it would play by itself in the middle of the night. So whenever you hear any kind of music, yeah, no.
All right, so this one is Thomas, the face in the window. I live on the second floor. That's important. I woke up frozen, staring toward my window. The curtains were slightly open, and there was a face outside, pressed to the glass, pale, eyes wide. It didn't blink, didn't move, just stared directly at me. I tried to scream, tried to move. Nothing. The worst part wasn't the face. It was the certainty that it knew I couldn't move. When I woke up fully, I ran to the window. Nothing. And there's no ledge outside, no balcony. Still don't know how to explain it.
Thus, the second floor. This one is from somebody named Praya. It says, mine wasn't visual, it was physical. I woke up and couldn't move, and then I felt something crawl across my arm. Slow, deliberate, like tiny legs moving from my wrist to my shoulder. Then another sensation on my ankle, and then my stomach. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel the weight, the movement. I wanted to thrash, but I couldn't. And when I broke free, I tore off my blankets and turned on every light, but nothing was there. But I still checked my bed before I lay down.
All right. So Julian, his story is the footsteps. I woke up unable to move, staring at my bedroom door. That's when I heard footsteps in the hallway, slow, heavy, coming closer. They stopped right outside my door. The handle rattled once. I tried to shout for my wife, but she was asleep beside me and couldn't make a sound. The footsteps never entered. They just stood there. When my alarm went off, everything was normal, except my door was slightly ajar.
Ooh. I don't think I need the light. I can hash this out here.
Okay.
So this one is from Rachel. And she's talking about the cold hand. She says, I woke up frozen, eyes closed, and I felt a hand on my forehead, like ice cold. It brushed my hair back gently, almost like tenderly, but the cold seeped onto my skin like frost would. I tried to open my eyes, but I couldn't. I just laid there, feeling it trace down the side of my face. And when I finally woke, I shot upright and grabbed my forehead. It was warm and normal temperature. But I still remember exactly where those fingers touched me.
Ooh, creepy.
Pass.
Yeah. Maybe we should do some shadow people ones now?
Sure, we can mix up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. When I was younger, I used to have like sleep paralysis, and what I would do to break out of it, I would really try hard to like move my pinky finger, and then that eventually would kind of get me out of it. And then I remember I had one about 8 years, a long time ago. About 8 years ago, I had, everybody was out of the house doing their thing. I think my husband and my daughter, they were out somewhere, and I knew my son was at work. And you know when it's like really quiet in the house, and you kind of like just want to like lay on the couch and just kind of like close your eyes just for like a few minutes or whatever, right? So I did that, and I think I was hallucinating, dreaming that I was awake, and I dreamt that there was a light on downstairs. And out of the eye shot of where I was laying, if I was awake, I would be able to see downstairs. But in this hallucination dream, the light was on, and I thought, oh, my son's home from work already. And I kept trying to call out to him because I didn't hear the door open, but I couldn't say anything, right? Like because I'm frozen, like I'm hallucinating. I'm in my dream paralysis state, and I couldn't move my, like whatever, right? And then straight off towards the kitchen, because it was afternoon. Like this wasn't nighttime. This was like daytime, whatever, the curtains were closed. And I could see the figure of a man standing in the doorway from the kitchen to the living room. And I was terrified. And I'm like, is somebody coming home? Like, is somebody coming in the door, like, to save me? And I'm like, is that you? I call it my son's name. Is that you? And then I did the finger thing, and I was able to wake up, and I realized I had been sleeping. It was like a dream, nightmare, paralysis thing, and I was fine. Everything was fine. But that was the middle of the day, and that really freaked me out, because when I was younger as a kid, it would always be nighttime. So it was just, but you're so groggy, you're so like just dead out of it. Like you can't force yourself to like snap out of it or snap into it, I guess. Anyway, creepy. All right, so we'll do some top or shadow man and top hat man story. That's a mouthful. This is your copy.
Thank you.
So has anybody heard any shadow man stories or top hat man? Yeah. Has anybody seen Top Hat Man? Oh, Shadow Man? Oh. If you guys care to, I mean, of course I'm promoting the podcast, and me and my pod partner got together recently, and we actually recorded stories of Shadow Man and Top Hat Man in addition to what we're going to tell tonight. For example, our friends at Six Pines Haunted Attractions, they actually have a shadow man that haunts their barn display, like, where they do all the haunted stuff. Yeah, that's all a part of it. So anyway, but from what I understand, though, just to caveat this, typically it only shows up or shows itself to the people that actually work in the barn every night. I've never heard stories of patrons, right? I think it's just because, they're there every night, like for 6-8 hours every night for a month solid. So he's curious. So that's what they even say too. They feel that he's curious. So there's a shadow man story that's like really here in Winnipeg. Anyway, all right, here we go.
All right. Well, I'm going to go off script.
Why not? Because I do that all the time.
My first experience with the shadow man was actually in a previous home that I was living in before I joined Winnipeg Paranormal Group. It was actually the house itself and the experiences in there what prompted me to reach out to Winnipeg Paranormal and follow up and stay in touch with the group and lead to today. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that house was really creepy. So we had this really long hallway that went from, 3/4 of the house. It was just a bungalow, but it went 3/4 of the house all the way to the back, and the bedrooms were off of that hallway. And it was a checkerboard floor, and everybody who came into that house told me it was a portal of some kind, which would make sense because of all the activity that we had in there. But I remember laying in bed one night with my husband, and we were just talking. We weren't going to sleep yet, and we noticed that all of a sudden the doorway into our bedroom got dark.
And you both noticed it.
We both
see now
noticed it.
Yeah, that's something.
And it was really creepy because, again, all the lights were off in the house. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, so the house is dark. And that's what people say is the shadow man is darker than dark. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, again, like some of the stories we've already heard, this entity just stood in our doorway, and you could kind of see him swaying back and forth. And he just watched.
I don't like the swaying part, really.
I know, it was so creepy.
I don't like that.
But yeah, he just stood there and watched. I'm like, I'm turning my back to this. I can't fall asleep like that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, there was lots of cases of shadow men in our house. Zipping around corners or, it was just a weird, creepy house.
Yeah, no, I get that. I have cousins who went to go stay in England with their uncle many years ago. So they're 3 and 6 years younger than me. So they would have been teens, 16 and 13 at the time. And they were, it was the same idea. They were sleeping in one room, and the little cousin with her headphones on, she's listening to music, and then she sees a shadow, a cloaked shadow, standing in the doorway with eyes piercing, watching her, and she's trying to wake up her sister, and how sisters are, is shut up, go back to sleep, whatever, right?
Leave me alone.
And then finally she turned around and went away. And interestingly enough, years later, it's England. England is haunted AF. I'm serious. It's the Mecca of haunted, right? And years later, they go back to the same uncle's house. This time, the older one's with her boyfriend, and he takes a picture of her sitting on the bed in the same bedroom. And I wish I had a copy of this picture. It looks like a monk, the shadow of a monk running in front of her, blurred. It's really, Anyway, I had to, when you say the doorway thing, it just triggered that memory. Well, not my memory, but I had to borrow that story. But
what about the shadow man that we caught at Fort Lorraine? Remember the ghost story night there?
Oh, yeah.
And you were, someone was taking pictures.
Right, yes. My friend Lori was taking pictures. The podcast got invited to come out, me, because my partner, she doesn't come out. And I represent. So I came out, told some ghost stories. Now, maybe later when we circulate, I'll show you guys the picture. I think I even posted on our Facebook page. It's so creepy because there's like 40 people. They had a couple of pit fires and benches around it. And my friend kept taking, for whatever reason, because like for all the people there, she kept on taking pictures of the same group of people. And, you know, it was kind of going to dusk. And then you have all these pictures side by side, you know, like light, dark. And she's like playing with the exposure and stuff, and you clearly see a man and a child standing behind the group of 4 or 5 people on this bench, right? So, like, it's amazing. Technology is great, yes. But it also makes you shit your pants.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you guys want to check out a really haunted location, go check out Fort Lorraine. It's just outside of Portage la Prairie.
Yeah,
worth
very cool.
The trip.
Yeah,
definitely
worth the trip.
I know that's
not for cars, for ghosts. Anyway, we'll continue on with a few more stories here.
So our first story is from Megan. She calls it The Man in the Top Hat. I was 16 the first time I saw him. I woke up in the middle of the night, flat on my back, staring at my bedroom ceiling. I knew immediately I couldn't move. My body felt locked, like I was pinned beneath invisible glass. And then I noticed him. Standing in the corner near my closet was a tall, impossibly dark silhouette. Darker than the room, darker than the night. He was shaped like a man, broad shoulders, long coat, and on his head was a tall, old-fashioned top hat. He didn't move. He didn't need to. I could feel him looking at me. There were no eyes, no features, just the outline. But the awareness coming from that corner was suffocating. My chest tightened and I tried to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. After what felt like minutes, he tilted his head slightly, almost politely, and then he was gone. Not faded, not dissolved, just gone. I've seen him twice since. Always when I can't move. Always watching.
Ooh. I have a friend who used to live in Winnipeg, who's now in Prince Rupert. He's been on the podcast a couple times years ago, and he would have an experience with the Top Hat Man, and this was on Eugenie, I think in St. Boniface. The house is no longer there, but he had found out years later that the gentleman, it's so funny, like, not that hauntings are funny or anything, but it would scare the shit out of him because it would be always in his bedroom, and then he'd always see him at the top of the stairs. And I think it was just him that would see this person, but then he found out years later the man that died in the house would wear a top hat. So, how ironic. But the Top Hat Man is an actual thing that a lot of people see, which is really crazy, right? Because why, you know?
Is it bad that I want to die in a top hat just so I can freak people out?
No. It's a good plan. The next one we've got here is from Eric. He talks about a figure in the doorway. He says, "Mine didn't wear a hat, but I knew it was the same thing people describe. I woke up facing my bedroom door, frozen, completely aware. The hallway light was on, casting a faint glow into my room. And in that doorway stood a shadow shaped like a man. It was tall, too tall. Its head nearly touched the frame. Its edges weren't solid. They seemed to waver like smoke trying to hold a human form. It didn't walk in. It just leaned slightly in the doorway, watching. The longer I stared, the heavier the room felt, like the air pressure had changed. My ears rang faintly, and then I did something I'll never forget. It stretched. Its arms elongated unnaturally, sliding along the wall toward me without taking a step. I could feel that stretch reaching across the room, even though it never physically touched me. When I finally broke free and sat up, the doorway was empty. But I keep my door closed now every night." And so you should for fires and stuff, right? Anyway, but nope.
I don't know, the stretching across the wall, like
Well,
that's,
maybe because of yeah, I can't explain that. I got nothing.
I mean, I know shadows can do that if the light moves, but
yeah,
I mean, if it's just a stationary hallway light that is on,
and if it's a dark shadow, realistically, right? Like,
yeah,
a shadow can't cast a shadow.
Creepy. All right, this one is from Lydia. The Hat Man at the foot of my bed. I'd heard about the Hat Man before I ever even saw him. I wish I hadn't. I woke up one night unable to move, staring towards the foot of my bed, and there he was, standing between my dresser and the window. He wore what looked like a long coat and a wide-brimmed hat. Not modern, something older, out of place. He was solid black, no detail, just absence. I tried to blink him away, but he didn't flicker. He felt grounded, intentional. And then he began to walk. Slow, measured steps toward me. The strangest part, I didn't feel rage or violence from him. I felt curiosity, like I was being inspected. He stopped at the foot of my bed and leaned forward slightly. I could feel the mattress dip as if the weight had shifted onto it. That's when the fear truly hit me. When I woke up fully, I shot upright and looked at the mattress. There was an indentation near my feet.
Oof.
I don't care what anyone says. I saw him.
Not good. And then I noped out of there.
Some of these stories. So my husband and I just started watching Fringe. Has anybody heard of that TV show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So it's Joshua Jackson. And anyways, one of the characters in there is the Observer.
Oh.
The Hat Man kind of reminds me of that, except in Fringe, he's a physical form.
But just like we said with the Six Pines Haunted Attractions, everybody there always had the feeling like he was just watching, right?
Yeah.
Same idea. So, and not to give any spoilers away of my podcast, if you care to listen to it or not, again, when we did this week, it's so funny. We're kind of funny. We think we're funny. Well, we're drinking. What do you want, right? And we were talking. It's like, why is it always the top hat man? Why isn't it a bowler hat man? Why isn't it dreadlock hair man? Like, I mean, why is it always specifically top hat man? It's just kind of funny.
And that's what made me think, is the Observer, while there are multiple,
right,
they all wear the same thing.
right.
It's all the same hat, it's all the same coat and suits, and like they'll have the same hairdo and everything like that. So it just kind of makes me think of that.
And saying that, some people even say that potentially maybe these are aliens, because they're taking a human form, so they don't want to try and freak anybody out. But I don't know, like we're just
other
dimensional beings. Do 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 do. All right. This one's from Nathan. Nathan says, I don't believe in ghosts. We love those people. And I was skeptical about shadow figures until this happened. I woke up paralyzed on my side, facing the corner of my room. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. The corner seemed darker than it should be. Again, right? Like that same pattern. Then it moved, not walking, not stepping, just unfolded from the darkness itself. It grew taller, peeling away from the wall like a stain becoming three-dimensional. The figure had no face, but I could sense where its head was angled towards me. The fear wasn't sudden, it was creeping, like icy water filling my lungs. It didn't approach, it didn't touch me, it just stood there, watching, as if waiting for permission. When I finally snapped out of it, I turned on every light in the room, and the corner looked normal again. But sometimes, when the lights are off, that corner feels deeper than it should. Ooh. I'm sleeping with the lights on tonight. I don't know about you guys.
All right, so this one is from Sophia, the one who sat on my chest.
Don't like that.
Nope.
It's
bad enough when they watch you, but to actually physically touch you, it's weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
And another thing with sleep paralysis, we've got a few more stories of that going back. I don't have any of the hag stories. Has anybody heard of the hag?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and that's known right around the world, right? Like, it's kind of cool how that everybody has that.
I've had experience with
You've had a hag?
I've had a hag.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Was that at that house?
Yep.
Oh.
I told you a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah.
Good old portal.
Oy.
So Sophia. One night, I woke up unable to breathe properly. Something was pressing down on me. And then I saw him sitting on my chest. A black silhouette of a man, shoulders hunched, head tilted slightly. He wore a tall hat. I could see the shape clearly against the dim glow of my nightlight. He wasn't heavy in a physical way. It was like the pressure was coming from inside my lungs. I tried to move my hands. Nothing. Sorry, I have to change pages here.
I gave you the bad copy, sorry.
He leaned closer. His face was inches from mine, featureless, smooth, like carved shadow. But where his eyes should have been, the darkness felt deeper. The closer he leaned, the colder the room became. Then, as suddenly as it began, the pressure lifted. He dissolved upward, like smoke pulled into a ceiling vent. When I could finally sit up, I was gasping, and the air felt thick, like something had just left it.
Oof. Speaking of which, I'm going to break off onto a sidebar here. We call that the choo-choo has left the track, right? So speaking of Fort Lorraine, so before we did the Ghost Night story back in August, I think there was like 30 or 40 of us, and we could wander. And if you don't know anything about Fort Lorraine, what was it called? Fort Lorraine Historic? I don't know.
Fort Lorraine Museum?
Museum, right. Menopause brain, sorry about that. So they have all these nice little houses that were donated to them, and these are all houses that were intact, fully intact, from different parts of the province, like rural, mostly that area, but like they have like a little church, they have a little schoolhouse. It really, like the artifacts are amazing, like just chef's kiss, because they've kept everything perfect. And I mean, the possessions in these houses or church and school aren't necessarily original to the building, but I mean, they've put everything together wonderfully, right? So before we did Ghost Story Night, and it was still daylight, everybody there was invited to go from house to house. You know, all the doors were wide open, you know, you go take a tour, whatever. And me and my friend were like, okay, let's go take some pictures, you know, and whatever. And this one house that was sort of like facing, you guys know Portage La Prairie? Anybody know Portage kind of so-so? I don't really know Portage. It was a whole new adventure for me. This museum is kind of like on where it splits off the highway, right? So it's kind of like off the highway, but on the highway. So it's very loud. Traffic, semis, you know, you can hear it and stuff. And the one house, and bear with me, so sorry, I don't remember the particular name of the house, but it's like the first house, and it's facing the highway, right? And all the doors are wide open so people can come in and come out, and we're like, oh, let's go check out this house, right? So, you know, we're taking pictures, we're checking out the house, you know, there's a doll sitting in the window on the second floor with its back against the window. So it's like, oh, that's nice, I hate fucking dolls, but whatever, you know, teach their own. Her partner makes them and sells them, like it's just something else.
Really cool.
And one of the curators was even saying, fun fact, one time she was like the last person to lock up all the houses, especially that house, and the first one to come in the morning, and the doll was facing out the window.
That was this season.
Okay.
That was just the season.
This year? Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember when she said
2025.
Yeah.
When they closed for 2024, the doll was facing out. So it was like she was looking out over the museum.
But she's always facing with her back against the window.
Yeah. And then when they came back, she was facing the opposite way.
Yeah. So we go in that house, and before I heard that story, you know, I'm not scared. Like I'm very good with stuff. Like it takes a lot to jar me, you know. But now the weird thing about this last story, and me and my friend, we walk into, we don't know the backstory of this house. We walk into the house, we stop, and it felt like the air was sucked out of the room. I don't know how better to explain it. It was like a vortex or something. You did not hear that traffic, that outside that you should. It's like we were somewhere else, and literally the air was sucked out of the room to the point where I look at her and she looks at me and I'm like, do you feel that? She's like, yeah. Like there's nothing here. Like it's just like, and right away I'm like, thank you for letting us come in. You have a beautiful home. We mean no harm. We're just going to be, and we do that with every place we go into. As a rule, I guess we were just playing tourists and we're like, da, 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 da. Didn't even think to do that. And I'm like, okay, we're just here to take a few pictures and then we're gone. And we did that. And I'm like, we're not going to go upstairs. We're just going to like leave, right? Go to find out later that potentially there was a murder in that living room right where we were standing. Potentially.
Yep.
Or allegedly. I guess I should say allegedly, right? We don't know for sure.
I think it is.
And there was a little girl that died in the house of typhoid or childhood disease that, you know, they didn't have treatment for back in those days. So, yeah. So when this story kind of hit home, when they said like the air, Like, you've never felt anything until you've been into a house that's,
Yeah, we had that too. We were on a private investigation, and they said that the activity was focused upstairs on the second level. So we went upstairs, and literally at the top of the stairs, it felt like you walked into a wall.
ooh, yeah.
Like, it was just thick, heavy. I don't know, it was just, you had to literally force yourself through this to be able to go upstairs. It was just, it was a weird feeling. And both Kelly and I ended up getting sick.
I was just going to ask, were you guys nauseous after? I'm all excited. Were you sick? Did you vomit?
So we were stupid and didn't protect ourselves prior to the investigation, which we normally do. But
Yep, they're very good about
we
that.
were doing this because there was this child in the home. They had sent us some videos, and we were like, well, we're not really sure. Like, we don't believe that orbs are proof of paranormal. And that is the belief in the paranormal field.
I do.
Because there are so many logical explanations for them that you can't use them as evidence, right?
Sometimes.
So, you know, we went into this home and we were like, oh, whatever. Like, we're not, it's just dust and bug. We're fine. Like, we're going to set the homeowners at ease. We're going to make them feel okay. And then we walk into this wall and we're like, oh, shit. I went into the baby's room because I'm like, well, if this is where the activity is, this is where I want to be. And I sat down in a rocking chair in a corner. So I knew that there was absolutely nothing behind me. But there was something behind me. You could feel it.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, it's just that energy, that feel in the air of like this
Void.
thick void. Yeah, it's so weird. And then all of a sudden I started getting vertigo. I've never experienced vertigo. I don't have vertigo. And they actually Kelly had to come up along with one of the investigators that was already in the room with me, and they had to help me downstairs.
Oh, wow.
And then Kelly took my place, and she experienced the same thing. Yeah.
Did you ever find out the history of the house?
I think we found out a little bit, but not much. The homeowner, after we had the experiences, because something followed me home too.
Oh, my God.
After we had the experiences, the homeowner actually sold the house.
Okay.
They moved out, so.
Sometimes the reason why I've asked, we've helped them out a couple times on this. We can actually do history searches. Sometimes we're pretty good. We can find out a little detail to kind of like fill the blanks, like if somebody had died in the house and stuff. And I mean, it's not always perfect, but you know, it gives us some answers. It gives us a name to a ghost, right? So, yeah, interesting. So, sorry, we kind of derailed on that one. Choo-choo. Did we do Julian? Was that the
No,
one?
we have not
Oh,
done
okay.
Julian
So
yet.
the last one we've got here for this group of Top Hat Man is Julian. This one here, he says, I'm not sure if it's a girl or a guy. Sorry, I apologize. I'm a restless sleeper. I usually kick all the blankets off. But that night, I woke up on my back, frozen, and there he was, the Hat Man, standing beside my bed. But this time there was something different. I could see a smile. Nope. Not teeth, not lips, just a curved distortion in the darkness where a mouth should be. It was very subtle, but very unmistakable. He leaned down slowly, and I realized he wasn't casting a shadow. He was the shadow. The room seemed dimmer around him, like he was absorbing the light. I tried to think of something logical. Sleep paralysis. Hypnagogic. Oh my God, that's is that it? Hypnagogic hallucination. But logic doesn't help when something is standing over you. He stayed there for what felt like hours, watching me panic. Then I blinked, and the room was empty. And I haven't slept on my back since. Probably the worst sleeping position anyway, so he did you a favor. Just kidding. All right, so.
What time are we at? 7:51.
A few more minutes. Speaking of, what story did I want to tell real quickly? Oh, that's gone now. There was another one where you get that
Train left
feeling.
the station.
Oh, I know. Okay, so these ladies are fabulous. And I shouldn't say ladies, they've got a few guys on their team and stuff. So when you go to a public investigation, and I've gone to lots because I record, and it's not always perfect, but I try and record because I want to pick up voices or something. Like we've recorded at the Dolphin, we've recorded voices, really, really creepy. And one of my favorite places I like going with them to when they do a public investigation is the St. James Museum. Has anybody been to the St. James? Very haunted. Like, I can go anywhere. I'm pretty brave. I'm not perfect. Again, it takes a lot to jar me, but the one place I will not go is in the nursery at the St. James Museum. I will not step in the threshold. I will not peek my head around the corner. I will not go in there. There's something very bad for me because I kind of have some senses about things. Anyway, but the tours are cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I love I'm not trying to dissuade from that. But the nice thing is when they break up groups of people into, like, say 3 groups, and they go to different parts or different houses or whatever, the coolest thing you'll ever see or hear, and if you're a doubter or if you have that little, I don't think there's such a thing as spirits and ghosts and stuff. The coolest thing is when all 3 groups converge at the end of the night and compare to what they've seen or heard or recorded or on the spirit box or whatever, they'll always get the same information. Different groups at different times will get, like, same names, same ages. Like, it's just, I'm getting shivers just talking about it because it is, like, spot on. Rick, it's amazing. So anyway, I was just trying to sell what they do, but
Thank you.
But at the same time, St. James Museum, yeah, no, I don't go in there. I don't go in that nursery.
It's a weird feeling up there. Some people find it calming, and other people find it jarring.
Yeah. I think too many babies have died in there. That's par for course, right? Like, I mean, you have a house that was built in mid 1800s, I think, and owned by 2 different families at 2 different times, and a nursery, right? Like, there were so many childhood diseases, and you've got SIDS and everything else that can happen, and unfortunately, like, what did they say? Only 30% of children back in that certain time period would only make it to age 5 or something, right? So I mean, I think for me, I just feel that sadness. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, there's been a lot of places like that, like Seven Oaks House too.
Yes.
Has had a lot.
Oh yeah,
of
I don't go in
kids
that nursery either. No.
Maybe it's the dolls in that one.
The ghost there did call me intelligent though, so I will be back. I highly give it 5 stars. It did. It did.
I was there.
Yeah, it was a nasty spirit. Well, I shouldn't say nasty. I think it was the matriarch, and she was very stern. And we were all in her kitchen. So if you know anything about Métis ladies, right? You don't fuck around with their kitchen, right? You either do your shit or you get out, right? Don't touch anything. Anyway, and there was like 8 of us, right? And I think there was quite a few of us, right? And then, I don't know French by any means. I'm like, comment ça va? Je m'appelle Jasmine. Et tu? Whatever. And all of a sudden, this thing was sucking up to me. And she's like, "Ooh, intelligent." Like, he would say the word a few times. So I got that to my cred. Anyway.
All right, so we are going to take a little break. So this is time for you guys to refill your drinks. Come sign up if you want to give us a story tonight. I'm going to be over on the side if you guys are interested in any of the goods over there. But yeah, take this time to mingle. Come talk to us if you want to say anything. If you don't want to tell your story out loud, we're always open to hearing it from you too. So
yeah, for sure, no pressure.
We'll be back in like 10-15 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Don't forget about the draw.